Story of the day. Reports coming out of Brazil now that 4 members of the U.S. swim team made up their story about being robbed. Jack Conger, Gunnar Bentz, Jimmy Fegan had claimed they were robbed at gunpoint along with Ryan Lochte, but their stories don't seem to add up according to reports in Brazil, but there's still a question about that. Let's bring in our legal panel. Ebony Williams, an attorney and Fox News contributor, and Brian Claypool, a criminal defense attorney. I'm seeing some headlines cross right now that the 2 swimmers, Bentz and Conger, arrived at the police station in Rio. I'm seeing other reports from media in Brazil from Globo that apparently there's video of the swimmers on the ground outside the gas station being held at gunpoint by a security guard. We're following it as best we can, Ebony. Could these swimmers, if they indeed lied, made up, exaggerated their story, be imprisoned in Brazil for 3 years?
Well, on paper, it looks that way generally. Certainly, there's about 4 charges that they would each be kind of applicable for, and one of them does have up to a 3-year sentence. I mean, certainly Brian and I, from our experience, know we don't expect that to actually happen, right? These are relatively low-level charges if convicted, if there's a proof brought around it, but certainly doesn't bode well. I mean, to your point, as you were saying, such inconsistent stories, a lack of corroborating evidence. The evidence we are seeing and hearing about these videotapes and whatnot seem to be all over the place. You know, who's holding a gun to whose head and for what reason, we just don't know.
Brian, what do you make of it?
Well, Jenna, I think this is as much about public relations as it is criminal justice. I mean, Brazil's been under the microscope worldwide. Their image is at stake. They've been attacked leading up to these Olympics, and they've done a pretty good job up until now. They're trying to preserve their reputation. Now, Ebony, I'm sure, would agree. One of the first things you do when somebody reports a crime is you look at the veracity of that victim. In other words, are they truthful? And when you have inconsistencies, for example, were they in a cab or were they at a gas station? Was there more than one person or was there just one person? Did they have their guns pulled out or did they not have their guns pulled out?
Right.
And the timeline doesn't match up either. They said 4 o'clock in the morning they left, and then there's video of them at 6:24 getting back to the Olympic Village.
Well, apparently one thing that no one's really arguing is that they were out late and they were partying quite a bit, Ebony. And Ryan Lochte is really the only one that's spoken publicly about this. And apparently these swimmers that are talking to police, this is the first time they're really going to be talking to the police. Legally, do they get American lawyers? We know that they have Brazilian lawyers. What do they even do in this situation?
Well, I would certainly recommend they would want as much counsel as possible. It's funny, Ryan Lochte is the only one that we know that has spoken publicly about it, and I think that actually might work against him. To Brian's point, this very much could play out in the court of public opinion as much as a court of law. So that could work against him. He's also very fortunate that he got out of Brazil prior to that order coming down from the Brazilian judge seizing those passports and thus halting the rest of the travel for the other swimmers. It really looks like the ramifications are just unclear at this point.
Sure. Legally, what would you do here, Brian? I mean, is there any way to get? So they talk to the police, these Brazilian police, the swimmers do. Then what's going to happen to them?
Well, here's a problem for Ryan Lochte, Jenna. 2 of the other swimmers, I just learned before we came on air, are being held, and Brazil officials are not going to allow them to leave Brazil until they testify about this alleged robbery. That does not bode well for Ryan Lochte. If all these swimmers had gotten out of town before this investigation really catapulted, then it would be better. And what I mean by that is these 2 swimmers are probably going to have to tell the truth now if they were telling a lie, and that may not bode well for Ryan Lochte.
It's a big question. This is outside the police station where the 2 swimmers just arrived to apparently talk to police. And we'll see. I mean, so far, Steve Harrigan reporting to us that apparently they were in a cab, stopped at a gas station, used the bathroom, damaged the bathroom, came out, and a security guard at the gas station was called. Police were called and held them there until they paid for the damages. That's one report. But quite frankly, we have no idea what happened. And we're getting some new video, apparently, from the gas station we're going to show you as soon as we get it. More breaking news on this story. Brian and Ebony, thank you very much, and we'll be right back with more happening now.
Thanks.